Wife-like Enterprises has released an advertisement that leads men to believe that having a programmed artificial intelligence in the role of a wife can brighten their lives. The said company produces registered companions who will act as perfect submissive wives, bringing pleasure and satisfaction to their owners. William Bradwell is a high-class agent who protects the welfare of these bought wives and himself becomes the lucky owner of such a companion who bears a striking resemblance to his late wife Meredith. After being introduced to his new wife, William brings Meredith home. He patiently helps her remember who she is, who he is in her life, and their relationship. That evening, William and Meredith sit on their bed and the latter instructs William on how to activate her features, especially in terms of intimacy. She discusses the terms of her use and how William will be held responsible if any damage is done to her. All the while, the robot speaks using a third-person point of view, completely out of touch with Meredith's personality. To fulfill her primary function as a companion's wife, Meredith asks William what he wants her to do. They then begin intimacy with each other, but the couple cannot sleep together because Meredith needs to recharge in order to perform her function effectively tomorrow. The next morning, William is engrossed in watching the morning news while Meredith prepares his breakfast. The news reports on a demonstration by the group Scare, or Sensible Citizens for Rights and Against Wife-like and their unjust treatment of women. The next news item is about the kidnapping of companion wives, leaving Meredith puzzled as to why anyone would steal a companion. According to William, this was done by an organization called Scare, which is considered a revolutionary group. He explains that in order to ensure the safety of the companions' wives, he pursues the organizer of the group, the ringmaster. He adds that some companions are sold in underground markets, while others are reprogrammed to go into crowded places carrying explosives on their chests. Then he eats and finally says goodbye to his wife, as he has to go to work. At work, William's boss informs agents of the mass kidnappings of companion wives. She also praises William for doing a great job. She uses it to inspire others to work as hard as he does, and reminds them to stay vigilant, especially in the face of Scare's growing numbers. Soon the protection agency discovers that some kidnapped companions are being held in a house in a dark room. A companion named Wendy, opening his eyes and assessing his condition, quietly leaves the room, trying not to alarm his captors. After making sure no one is around, she grabs her coat and climbs out of the house through the window. She then jumps off and lands on the ground, but unfortunately she cannot run fast as her collar begins to malfunction. Due to successive interference, she loses her balance and falls to her knees. William finds her in this position and cautiously asks her name and condition. Wendy introduces herself and says that her operational services are down. She also tells him about the companions left in the room and gives him pertinent information and a description of one of their captors. William then instructs Wendy to stay safe, and he himself goes into the house, leaving his partner Jack Darkson behind. William quietly enters the house and sees the shadow of a man who seems to be punching the air. He points his gun at him, but realizing he can't see him because he's playing a VR game, knocks him out with a punch. He walks into the room where the companions are. William walks up to the robot sitting in the corner of the room, and checking its status, he hears a noise coming from behind, where he discovers another man has taken his companion hostage. Fortunately, William manages to shoot the man before he can harm his companion, and as soon as Jack enters the room, William leaves the scene, relying on Jack to deal with the perpetrators. At William's house, Meredith lies down on a specialized chair to begin recharging. Closing her eyes, she is transported to the dream realm, where she meets Ito, her interactive dream operator. Ito helps her decide what to dream. At this point, he decides to send Meredith to a birthday party where she goes down the stairs. In this dream, Meredith is celebrating her birthday, and seconds later, William joins her to greet her and compliment her on how great she looks. Suddenly, a strange woman interrupts their conversation and asks Meredith to dance. The woman introduces herself as Liddy, who seems to be a forgotten acquaintance of Meredith's. As they dance, Meredith notices a masked man standing in the corner. Out of curiosity, she approaches him and confusedly accepts the card he holds out to her, and the man says before he leaves that it will help her remember everything. Meanwhile, William arrives at the wife-like building to deliver the companions he saved in his recent operation. The staff escorts William and the companions to the break room so they can join the other ladies. When they arrive, William is confronted by two companions named Ollie and Liddy, who glare at him angrily and even give him a mid-finger. The staff member asks William to ignore them and says that the two are known for being rude. The next morning, Meredith inquires about the masked man who handed her the card, but Ito finds no record or recollection of him in her sleep. Then she decides to familiarize herself with the real Meredith's hobbies, and Ito begins to list the things Meredith liked to do. Surprisingly, she also suggests trying things that were not registered in Meredith's past memory, such as knitting. After a while, she decides to ride her bicycle in the street and nearly runs over a strange woman who claims to be an acquaintance of hers. This woman continues to insist that they know each other and presses her to recover her memories. When Meredith tells William about her strange encounter with this lady, her husband admonishes her to be careful with women, especially since women hate companions for taking their attention away from men. Later that day, the couple are relaxing outside, when William notices that Meredith is beginning to refer to herself as I, which means that his real wife's memory is merging with that of the artificial intelligence. The couple is pleased with this progress, and Meredith continues to surprise William by giving him an item she has linked. At night, entering her dream, Meredith informs Ito that she begins to familiarize herself with the memories of the real Meredith and decides that her dream must be about her first meeting with her husband. However, this beautiful dream turns into a nightmare when she discovers that a masked man is standing next to her instead of William. The man insists on finding out everything about Meredith, and the moment he lunges at her, William awakens her from a bad dream. Meredith's curiosity about the masked man grows, but William assures her that the man is not important. The next morning, Wifelike sends William on another mission to pick up a companion named Lisa Mauser. Despite his brief interaction with Lisa, he begins to notice some peculiarities in her behavior. Lisa seems to have a mind of her own and is in control of her actions, which contradicts the submissive and obedient nature of the registered companions. Nevertheless, William tries to persuade her to go with him, but the moment he believes she will cooperate, she runs away from him, locks herself in her room, and jumps out of the building window, leaving him confused. Meanwhile, Meredith is cleaning the house when she notices the strange lady from the previous day sitting in the living room. She asks about how she got into the house, but the woman only scoffs at her predictable and robot-like behavior. To get Meredith's attention, the woman begins to talk about a mysterious man and how he wants to meet Meredith. However, the robot objects that this may be a way of kidnapping and instead threatens the woman that their conversation is being recorded and that she must leave the house before her husband arrives. But the woman does not respond to the threats and even leaves a message for William and finally tells him that the mysterious man behind the mask, named Keen. Then before she leaves, the woman informs Meredith that her name is Louise. At the company, William has just finished returning a companion to her owner. He notices another advertisement stating that the company now offers robot children. An employee approaches him to congratulate him on his job, but William instead asks her about the need to create and sell artificial intelligence babies. The employee replies that everyone deserves to be a parent, to which William sharply objects. Then he orders the employee to let him talk to Marion Venturam, the advertising man and creator of Wifelike Enterprises. Once they come face to face, William tells Marion about what he has observed in Lisa and expresses concern that others might behave as she does. But Marion brushes William's complaints aside, telling him that there is nothing to worry about, and that a little turmoil and uncertainty is part of the developing future. When William returns home, Meredith greets him and, like a perfect wife, asks him how his day was. She also tells him about Louise's unexpected visit and asks about Keen. Seeing William's strange reaction to the mention of Keen's name, she suggests that he play the videos she recorded so he can understand how her meeting with Louise went. A few minutes later, William calls Jack, interrupting his affair with his partner. Jack then rushes to William's house to help him track down Keen, who they believe is a member of the Scare organization. William sees this as an opportunity to destroy the group and keep the companions safe. With Meredith's consent, they hack into her sleep in order to track down Keen's whereabouts. They also take note of the address Keen gives Meredith, where he wants her to meet him. Jack and his team break into the supposed location and find only a box that emits gas, while William arrives at the address Keen gave Meredith and sees only a mannequin. He then realizes that they are trapped by Keen and rushes home to check on his wife, who says she found the notebook outside the door when someone knocked. In the end, William talks about Meredith's dark past, about how she was once involved in a tragedy with an explosion that resulted in the loss of life. He also convinces her that everything he does to protect her. After that, William talks to Jack via video link and admits that Kim is one step ahead of them. So he devises a new defense strategy that involves meeting Kim in Meredith's dream. However, Jack knows how risky William's plan is, so he constantly reminds him of the law and ethnic norms when dealing with situations. William assures Jack that he just wants to talk to Keen and tells Jack to come see him. William instructs Meredith to wake up when the battery is down to 10%, after which they both fall asleep. Once William is face to face with Keen, he asks Meredith and Jack to give them time to talk in private. Meredith leaves to leave them alone, but as soon as she is out of sight, William unceremoniously attacks Kim, leading to a heated scuffle. Poor Meredith runs into the woods, but when she begins to get lost, she desperately calls for Ito to transport her to another dream, which brings her back to the birthday party. A few seconds later, William and Keen are also transported to the same dream, where Meredith witnesses their fight. William yells for everyone to leave the place and proceeds to punch Keen. He picks up the pace, but just as he is about to take his enemy's life, Meredith is forced to wake up because her battery has dropped to 10%. When they return to reality, William is annoyed at how close he came to defeating Keen. He then apologizes to Meredith for putting her in this situation and hints at erasing her memories. But Meredith expresses her disagreement, then William assures her that he will be with her every step of the way and will help her recover her memory. Completely trusting William, Meredith agrees to return to Wife-like Enterprises to have her memory erased. But when she meets other companion wives, the puzzles of her life begin to come together. When she tries to talk to them, a companion named Ollie also provokes Meredith to remember her past like everyone else did. Ollie then reveals to her the secret of how to retain her memories by keeping them in sleep mode while she undergoes the memory wipe procedure, and getting them back through the occasional dream. Upon hearing this, Meredith seems to realize that this is not the first time her memories have been erased, so she hastily meets with Ito in her dream and orders him to replay all the dream files she has saved in random mode. On the other hand, Louise enters Jack's apartment, where she meets Jack's partner Holly. Louise gives Holly the flash drive and asks her to give it to Jack, although Holly considers it suspicious, but still hands over the flash drive, which contains very confidential and important information to help solve the Keen case. The next morning, Meredith's memory wipe is finally complete, but as she sits motionless, her memories resurface. Her true identity, her connection to Keen, how she met William, and so on. But when she meets William at their house, she pretends to know nothing and that everything is new to her. This scene is reminiscent of Deja Vu, as William usually tells us about himself. Just as William tells Meredith that she is his wife, Jack enters their house and puts an end to William's illusions. William politely asks Meredith to leave them alone, and as soon as she is out of sight, Jack tells him about his lies and how he cut short the life of Keen Morrison, Meredith's real partner. After giving William a chance to explain his side of the story, Jack informs him of his detention and strips him of his companion honor privilege. But to protect his secret, William pulls out a firearm and shoots Jack. He later learns that Meredith witnessed his crime, and she innocently points out that William executed Jack just as he killed Keen. William instantly realizes that Meredith's memory has not been erased. She remembers everything, including William's growing obsession with her, to the point where he uses his power to restrain her and Keen, and getting them into his car. Then Meredith vividly recalls her first meeting with William. She first met him when she knocked on his door, asking him to sign a document in support of their protest against Wife-like Enterprises and the creation of companion wives. Since then, William has followed her like an obsessive stalker. Meredith became afraid of William, and there was nothing she could do when William asked Keen to get out of the car and blew his head off. Back in the present, William tries to justify himself by insisting that he did it to protect her. He even justifies strangling her in her sleep by using a pillow similar to the one Meredith tied up and putting a ring on her finger, to make it appear that she is his wife. But no amount of persuasion from William has any effect on Meredith. It even encourages her to activate the power mode and set it to its maximum level. She grabs him by the collar and throws him to the floor. It also turns out that it was Louise who hacked into Meredith's dream, impersonating Keen and using the mask to make her remember everything. Every pain Meredith inflicts on William is equivalent to the suffering he put her through. She mercilessly breaks his limbs one by one and finally kills him by strangling him with the same pillow. Her freedom from William means a new life for Meredith. She finally reunites with her comrades who have been awaiting her return. They greet Meredith warmly and allow her to regain her power as head of Scare. She lays out her plans to free each companion. Never again will they be subservient to anyone, and soon they begin to cheerfully exclaim, "Life begins now." Back in the wife-like building, Marion mourns the death of Agent Jack, which they blame on the Scare organization. He promises to restore justice by finding the master of the ring and announces that he will hand over command of this important mission to Agent William Bradwell, who has now also become a companion. Meredith and William promise to track each other down,